YouTube. This is what I believe is considered the oldest mead in the world. Obviously, it's a clone thereof. Now, there's an article that I came across a while ago talking about a dig in some Nordic-y, whatever it is, Northern Europe-y type of place, whereupon they came across this strange burial. And the burial involved, they found this body. The body was so decomposed and gone, it was literally just a stain in the soil. But on one side he carried 2 spears, and on the other side there was a sword. At his feet, and this is the important part, at his feet was an iron pot, clearly pretty much gone as it was. But what they were able to find, they did a chemical analysis of, and they figured that the residuals left in this rusted out old pot was mead. And they were able to break down the ingredients to this mead. And the site itself was dated between 400 and 450. I'm going to say that wrong. 450 to 400 BC. Making it what is believed, and I know this is argumentative, as the oldest mead found. Alright? Now, how true this is as the oldest or not, I think is really up in the air, but 400 to 450 is awfully old. Now, the ingredients to this, now they did not say the proportions, but they said the ingredients to this thing. And I made a 1 gallon of this. So it's 1 gallon spring water. And in that 1 gallon spring water, I put in, according to their list of ingredients, just not proportions, so I guess these proportions myself, is 1.5 pounds of barley, which I boiled for an hour. 4 pounds of honey, making it a semi-dry. Half a cup of meadowsweet flowers. That's important. I'll bring that up again a little bit later. Half a cup of mint. And that's it. The yeast I used was US-04, which is a British Pale Ale yeast, one of my preferred yeasts in making meads. But back to the meadowsweet. When they figured out what was in this mead, like I said, without stating the proportions, maybe they knew what it was, but it wasn't in the article. The point is, they took this list of ingredients, handed off to a brewery in Michigan, I believe, and they brewed up a batch of this, what I call iron pot, because it was found in an iron pot, mead. And they claimed it tastes very medicinally. Now, this goes back to the meadowsweet. Turns out the meadowsweet is a strange bush, well, I should say strange, a bush that grows frequently all over Northern Europe. It is related to weeping willows, which, as everybody knows, well, maybe not everybody, but as many know, that the weeping willow, if you chew on the bark, it relieves headache. And it's because that's where we get aspirin from. So the meadowsweet is a medicinal plant that's a pain reliever, just like aspirin is, because it's related to aspirin. Very interesting. Now, I saw some video, oddly, on YouTube, and it mentioned about making meadowsweet tea. And what you need to do when making meadowsweet tea is to use the flowers only, because the roots and the sticks are too medicine flavored. You use the flowers. The flowers give this tea a honey-like flavor, which I found funny that this would be placed in a mead. But either way, once you take the flowers and you put them in, you don't even boil it. You put on what is called flame out. Now, this is a brewery term. When you're making a beer, the idea is you when it's in a rolling boil and you turn the flame off, that's called flame out. Then you add more spices into it. Then the temperature starts to drop. The spices in it, and so forth and so on. So, they recommend in flame out, you leave it in as long as you would a normal tea, which is really maxed out at 5 minutes only. So, in short, you take meadowsweet flowers. Once you got your mead into a rolling boil, and I know some people out there, oh, I don't boil my mead. Well, in this case, it was boiled. Once you take the flame off the boil, you throw in your meadowsweet and you leave it in for 5 minutes. Roughly the same amount of time you would when it comes to making a tea. And I did the same thing with the mint because I didn't want an overwhelming mint flavor into it. Now, before the cicadas drown me out, let me show you what this looks like when it's done. Whoa! It spills all over the place, including my notes. Dang nabbit. Rats. Oh well. There it is. Straight from 450 to 400 BC to YouTube, contemporary time. So I'm not sure when anybody's watching this, if anybody's going to watch it. Hopefully somebody's out there watching it. There it is, an ancient mead, guesstimated. So, let me go with the actual technical numbers. Remember, I'm not that great with hydrometer, so take these numbers with a grain of salt. Starting sugar was 29, gravity 1.022, ABV 16. Remember, I suck with a hydrometer, so, take this with a little bit of gray. Ending sugar is 12, gravity 1.050, giving an ABV of roughly 6.5, and giving an overall ABV of 10%. So what we have here is 10% ABV, which I believe is 20 proof. Sorry, you double the ABV to make it the proof, or do you cut it in half? Cut it in half. 5 proof. 5 proof. There we go. And that's what we get here. Like I said, I'll read it off at the end of the video. The ingredients again. But as you can see, it's a lot darker than what one would expect. It's a heavy honey smell. And that's about all that you get out of it. It's very fleeting. It has a bit of a brightness to it, almost like it wants to have bubbles, the carbonation, I should say. Sorry, carbonation. But all in all, very tasty. There is a hint of bitter in the very back of the palate that is competing with a bit of mint. The overall is overwhelming honey. It's not. The honey acts as this bed of flavor, but it's only half of it. The rest of it is actually much brighter and lighter. So you get this heavy base with much lighter level flavors. The problem is trying to describe what those lighter flavors are. And that gets hard to describe. It's not a bad mead. It is a heavy mead. And I wonder if that's because I used 4 pounds into this 1 gallon concoction. Or whether or not I should have gone to 3 pounds or maybe as low as 2. But I typically make classical style meads, 1600s and earlier. And they usually require about 4 pounds of mead done in a boil. So that's why this is based in that direction of having 4 pounds in, and like I said, the boil nonetheless. So, all in all, it's nice. I would not drink this in summer or spring, more like late fall. This would be phenomenal when the snow's coming down because it's a heavy flavor. Think Merlots if you're into wines. Think stouts and ports if you're into beers. Real heavy, get out a fork and knife and in your glass it goes, that kind of thing. This will compete with it. It's just strange that it's such a light a light hang time that you get this heavy mouthfeel that just gone. It's very strange. If you get the chance, try it yourself. The recipe is 1 gallon of water, 0.15 pounds of barley for an hour-long boil. And the reason for the boil, 4 pounds of honey, half cup of meadow sweet. Remember, 5 minutes of meadow sweet after flame out, and half cup of mint. Do what you will with the mint. I threw it in with the meadow sweet, thinking fresh mint would be too much, too overwhelming. 10% ABV, end result. Give it a try. See if you get your results equal to the same as mine, or at least similar of. And maybe we can bring this old dog back to life. Like I said, 450 to 400 BC. 400 to 450 BC. Until next time.